Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back. It is the morning show. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and to my right, to my far right, I got the co-host with the most. He knows better because he's Mo better. Good morning, Mo.
Hey, good morning, Gene. Good morning, Will, and everybody out there joining us.
Speaking of Will, I'm going to pass it right over. Pass the rock right to my man, my main man, William D. Morgan, the host of the Sports Report. Will, listen, I know we got some wrestling topics. It's going to be a fun show today. I figured we would start with R-Truth. Is that all right with you?
Fine with me.
How you feeling this morning, Will?
Man, let me tell you, I was upset when I heard the news. I blame Mo for it because Mo be hating. But I will say this. This feels like a work to me. And I said it in the chat yesterday. The man's been in WWE since 2008. And I think he's a lifer. And for this to just come out of the clear blue on Sunday, things will work. I think it's a work. And me and Key talked about it. He's going to come back as Ron Cena. He's going to sign back as Ron Cena, and it's just going to be even more hilarious. This is what R-Truth is known for, man. And like I said, for it to come out of the clear blue, don't make no sense. This is a work.
I mean, I sure hope it's a work, but I don't know. And with all the WWE superstars like in on it, talking about like their memories with Truth and like their memories with Ron, and I don't know. I hope you're right? Because I would love him to be like, I thought it was April Fool's and it was June 1st. Like it's June Fool's. And like he does this weird thing where he makes himself it funny or whatever. Yeah. But I think with all the people that have come out and basically said like how their relationship with him was and how like A, B, and C, I don't know. Mo, do you think it's a work?
It doesn't feel like one. I hope it is. I really do, because I think he's just naturally funny and entertaining. And I think you need that sometimes in the WWE or any federation for that matter. But if it was a work to me, I felt like it would have been done on TV. It would have been part of a show or an angle or a storyline. The way that it was done, I feel like it's real. I hope I'm wrong and they fooled me to the point, because I do feel like it's real. They've been getting rid of people left and right, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was real. I want it to be a work, like you, like Will. It doesn't feel like one.
To me, though, if you go back and you look at everything that Truth has done, definite Hall of Famer, one of the best hands in the business that I've seen. I just can't see it. He's too useful to what this company does. The fans love him. And for him to go out on that note with John Cena in that particular match, I just can't see it, man. Something else is at play here.
Do you think that he knew this? Like he said he was blindsided. Do you think that the WWE or he knew this before Saturday night's main event? And they were like, hey, we're going to give you your dream match with John Cena, have you on Saturday night's main event. And that before we let him go, like that was like their nice way to let him out the door. Like, because from all reports I hear is he was blindsided by it.
I don't know.
He didn't expect it.
I don't know about him being blindsided, because normally when you're on the cutting edge or the cutting block, you know there's something there that led you to it. There's nothing here that leads R-Truth to it. People keep telling me Braun Strowman. Well, look at Braun Strowman's attitude. Plus, he's been let go before. Look at Mandy Rose. She was doing questionable stuff too. So I don't know if he was necessarily blindsided by it, because you know you've done something to get yourself in that position. And again, I just think that this is work. I don't think he's going anywhere. At the very least, you'll see him coming back on a Legends contract.
That would be cool.
But see, I feel like that if they did let go Truth and this is real, they should have did it like they did with like people like Edge and like did it on TV and like, hey, I'm walking away or blah, blah, blah.
Right. And that leads me to this being a work, because you don't let go of somebody that's that tenured in the company without giving his flowers on the way out.
Look, I completely agree with you. I hope that it is a work. I hope there is some stuff that comes out. We'll find out. We'll probably find out a lot more tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Mhm.
It'd be tough for them not to mention it,
It would
especially
be.
with all the things that he's done and the news. And I just feel like they don't mention normally anybody that leaves, like Braun Strowman. They didn't mention. They really
Mm-mm.
didn't mention like anything about Shayna Baszler.
Mm-mm.
But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out a little bit more tonight. We'll get some more information. But Will, I want to pass it over to you. This is the Monday morning WWE segment, wrestling segment. And you got a couple questions for me and Mo that I don't know if we both seen yet.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you guys. The first one I wanted to bring up is this. Everyone knows Prime Kurt Angle was awesome. If you could get Prime Kurt Angle versus a Prime Sting, I'm talking about Prime WCW Sting, who you guys have winning?
Oh, I'm taking Kurt Angle. Sting was prime WCW. Sting was athletic, but Angle could actually wrestle. Angle could actually wrestle. Sting couldn't wrestle. He was a one-trick pony. I don't. If we're just talking on real abilities, I think Kurt Angle wins. I don't think it's even that good a match.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about real wrestling, yeah, Kurt Angle wins. But like, if you're talking about WWE and scripting or WCW and scripting, Sting was the bigger overall wrestler. Like, it was a lot harder for you to get pin Sting. Like, he wasn't taking the pin in that situation. I don't know. It depends who's the heel, who's the face with the situation. Kurt Angle is the better wrestler, but Sting is the better overall, like, performer. Like,
I would disagree with that. Sting is a bigger star, maybe a bigger personality. He wasn't a better performer. He wasn't. He had like, if you think about Sting in the matches he was in, like, a lot of people had to carry him. He wasn't that great in the ring. He looked great against Luger because he had to carry Luger because Luger was one of the worst in the ring.
Luger was stiff
Sting
as all
himself
get out.
wasn't that great in the ring.
Luger was stiff as all get out.
So we just basing it on their like in-ring ability.
No, I'm just saying I agree that he is the bigger star. He is a bigger personality. And obviously we know that they're scripted, so it could go however which way you want to go. But I'm just saying that I'm just not just talking about just as a pure wrestler, just an in-ring ability. Kurt Angle was much better than Sting was.
I agree with that. But when I say performer, I mean the entire flexive thing. Like, John Cena is a terrible in-ring wrestler, but he's a much better performer because his mic work, because of like his cells and the way things are. Like, I think Sting is a performer in that sense. Like, everything he did, just like even with Roman, right? When you see the way Roman reacts to things, his facial expressions, like, it sells it much better. That's what I mean when I say performer. Kurt was a good heel.
Right. And I get what you're saying, but I saw WCW Sting, Prime Sting. He wasn't good on the mic. I mean, if you ever saw Sting on the mic, all he did was yell and scream that weird scream he did. So he wasn't good on the mic. You know, Will's laughing because it's true. He wasn't good on the mic. Angle was goofy, even borderline nerdy, but he was but that personality, his persona, made him actually better on the mic than Sting was. Sting wasn't good on the mic. And as he got older and he went to that weird crow personality, he was even worse on the mic because he said like one word a night. So I think Sting was one of those guys that we came up with, that he was such a huge star. I'm not going to argue that he would always, 9 times out of 10, if they line up, they're probably going to put Sting over for the win. I'd have to assume that Angle is the heel in that matchup. I'm just saying I don't think it's as cut and dry that it's because Sting is better overall. I think he was more beloved. When you're more beloved like that, you get a little bit more favoritism.
Guess that's fair.
All right. I got bit of news real quick. Not only was it reported this week that R-Truth has been released, it's also being reported that his contract is about to expire. Carlito from Judgment Day looks like he's gonna be going on his way out in a couple of weeks. What do you guys think about Carlito and his impact in WWE?
Don't care.
I'm with Gene. I actually think this is one of the firings they got right. Unnecessary. I'm just
trying to figure out why they brought him back. He didn't do anything on his return.
They tried whatever they could do to get him involved in different things, and he's not. I don't know. Remember, That's Cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. Yep.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, bro.
But
It's
the
just not
apple,
it
he take
I
the
thought
apple
when
and
he first
spit it
came
out.
back, they were trying to get him involved
with
in the
Ray.
whole LWO thing, and that dried up really fast. And then they put him as basically a flunky for Judgment Day, and that dried up even faster. I think with Carlito, his bit, his persona, it got old back in the day when he was like, if you want to call his peak. Bringing it back now, it was even worse.
Facts.
I got one more, and I'll finish up for the day. Out of these past United States champions, and I love that U.S. title. It has so much historical history. Out of these 4 guys, who do you think was the best? And I'll one at a time. Dusty Rhodes,
Okay.
Lex Luger, who held the belt for a while, Sting, or Booker T.
Go ahead, Mo.
Dusty Rhodes. Well, I'm trying to remember the name. Dusty Rhodes,
Dusty Rhodes.
Sting.
You can eliminate the middle two. Lex Luger is awful.
Yeah.
And you don't like Sting, so
No, I like Sting. I would say out of that group, the most beloved performer is Dusty Rhodes. Not even close.
Yeah.
But I would probably, if I'm going to say who I think was the better champion, I'm going to go Sting. Out of that group, I'm going to go Sting.
Luger had that belt forever, and I'm still trying to figure out what the.
He did. He had it forever, but you remember Ultimate Warrior, right?
Yup.
Him and Luger are the same guy.
Yep.
They're the same guy. No wrestling, no ability at all. No ability at all.
5 times. 5 times. I'm going Booker T, man. Booker T, the Spinneroonie. 5 times.
I love Book because Book's bit, it never got old.
Somebody need to check on Book.
Funny. It never got old.
Somebody need to check on Book with Stephanie Vaquera moving over to the Raw roster. Somebody need to check on Book.
I
Book
knew
loves
something
Stephanie
was
Vaquera.
up when as soon as she lost, I knew it was up.
Yeah.
I knew it was up.
Yep. And she about to move over to that Raw roster. So we about to lose Booker T's greatest asset. Because when she was out there and she did her move, Booker went crazy.
Stephanie Vaquera is great. I think the whole influx of NXT talent, like whoever came up with the idea of NXT years ago as like basically a training ground for these guys is genius, right? They were absolutely genius because you see less and less like bad performers that come out, like people, and you absolutely get a true hype up. Like all these people came from NXT: Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair,
Right.
What NXT? Tiffany Stratton. Remember Alabama Tiffany Stratton, the country girl? It was she's completely revamped herself. But like you can kind of see what NXT is bringing up, and I got to give that credit, all the credit in the world.
I love NXT, Will. I know you love it too. And to Gene's point, he's so spot on because it's a real training ground before you go up to the majors. And I love that they can cut their bones there. And you know what you can avoid? You can avoid just some random joker named Nails. Remember Nails? What was the worst one? The Shockmaster. You can avoid that kind of stuff.
Shockmaster Law, man. That was funny to say he came out there that day.
You can avoid that by getting it done the right way. Like look at Obafemi. Love the kid.
Yeah.
But they know that he still needs a little bit more sharpening, a little bit more, but he's going to be ready. Eventually, Trick Williams will be ready. I love that they've done this. Like I said, I'm with Gene. I'd like to know whose idea that was because they're not getting paid enough.
It was a travesty in a sense because you killed the previous 2 training grounds in Ohio Valley Wrestling and Florida Championship Wrestling. As far as the training development for WWE stars, but at the same point, NXT's been good because now you're training people in the way of the WWE. And we all know as wrestling fans, the WWE way is different than anyone else's way. WWE's way of training is different than AEW's. And it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve. So it was good that NXT was developed. And you're seeing a lot of future stars about to hit that main roster, baby.
The storytelling has to be good. Like, I don't care about if the wrestling's good, that's cool.
Yep.
It's fun to watch for a little bit. If the storytelling's not good, I don't want to watch it. I don't care.
I feel you. And that's something that
it's 100% a soap opera for grown men.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie to you.
And the one thing I do
See
like
what
about
Jey Uso said last night. I'm just kidding.
and one thing I like about it too, is helping people who might have a language barrier get a little bit better on the mic as they move up too.
Bro, give me some more Fraxium, bro. I love watching them.
Man, it's like Stephanie Vaquera, her accent's kind of heavy, it's kind of deep, but she still gets over. So hey, more power to her.
That's how bum ass Becky Lynch made it. So
You know what, man? You know what? She's changed a lot. Since she got married to Seth Rollins and had that kid. Hopefully she can get back to what she was, and in terms of her in ring, hopefully she can get back to what she was.
you know, it's
That's
funny.
all I
Though,
got.
I think that Becky is a much better heel. Give me the
Mhm.
Becky heel that came out there trashing, trashing Bailey, and
Yep.
I love that. Like that was the only time I've ever liked a performance by Becky Lynch. I can't stand her as a face. The man has come around to your city. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Shut up.
Go back to being heel. Some wrestlers are billed as heels, and she's one of them.
I 100% agree with that. I'm annoyed with face Tiffany Stratton. I don't like it. I don't like it. It annoys me.
I still think she got called up to the roster a little too soon, but that's just me.
I don't. I just think she needs to become a heel again. Like, I think Tiffany is so much better. She's not overpowering people, right? So when she's winning these matches, it should be due to antics. Like, that's what makes you a good heel. And like, she has that I'm better than you persona, which is perfect for a heel. She doesn't have the one of us mentality. And like, the reason Jey Uso is such a great face is not because he's a good wrestler. It's not because he's good on the mic. It's because people see authenticity in him.
Yeah, they
Like,
see realness.
So like, faces need to be truly authentic. That hustle, loyalty, respect, that John Cena aspect, Jey Uso, we all felt it, right? With people like Tiffany and Becky, they're better heels.
Yeah. And I think the IWC has a lot to do with her being a face, but hopefully eventually they'll get it right.
They weren't supposed to make her a face. She was supposed to be the heel in the argument with Charlotte Flair. If you remember Charlotte's first promotion after winning the Royal Rumble, they were trying to make her a face. And the fans were like, no, we don't like you. We can't stand you. And then they were just like, all right, it's just like it was last year when they were trying to do Rock versus Roman. The fans were like, we're not doing that. So like, they tried making Charlotte Flair a face and it didn't work. So they had to turn, they basically had to turn Tiffany Stratton face.
Yeah.
And I think that eventually they'll switch her back off.
The beauty of that, Gene and Will, was the fans made that decision.
They
Remember
did.
Charlotte came out and she thought she was going to get all this love, and the fans were like, they were booing her so bad she had to embrace being the heel again. They weren't feeling it. I love that the fans made that decision.
She need to lay off the
You can't
plastic.
tell me Charlotte Flair is a face. My bad, Will.
She need to lay off the plastic surgery for real. That's just going too far.
You can't tell me Charlotte Flair is a face.
No,
She'll never be a face to me. I can't stand her. And that's what I think makes her a good heel. Is that I can't stand her.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's acting. I just think she's absolutely annoying. And like in real life, whatever. Like there's a reason that she's been through 3 marriages. That's
and
probably
she's doing
a little bit below the belt, but
Yep. And like I said,
I'm just saying, if you take that many swings at it, at some point, it ain't everybody else. It's you.
It's you. It's you.
they're gonna get the belt off of Jay at SummerSlam.
They will.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sooner than later.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, thank you, Gene. Seth Rollins will be getting that belt off of him coming up. It's coming up.
Well, Mo, we said it when he won it. Transitional champion.
For sure. I look, Jay is so over that even when he loses the belts, he's going to be in big matches without the belt. But we talked about this even before going way back, that it's Seth's time. He's put in so much time. He's put so many people over. It's his time. This faction that he's building, I think when he becomes champion, Seth's going to be champion for a minute.
And it's good.
It should be. Seth Rollins is the best thing WWE has.
Yep.
He's the best in-ring performer. He's the best company guy. Like you can have a good. First of all, Seth Rollins can have a good match with a rubber hose. and it would be fine. Like, in a match, him and a rubber hose, main event, it'd be good promos,
Oh yeah.
good moves. Like Seth Rollins is incredible.
I just think that with that faction, and it's good to see Bronson Reed in that faction too. This is gonna be something special, y'all. This is gonna be something special. But that's all I got, guys.
All right, well, let's move over to the NBA. And one of the things that we well, listen, we didn't get a chance to talk about it yet. But Knicks Pacers, let's talk about game 6. Talk about what happened in the series, and then we'll do a small preview of the finals. We got a couple days to preview the finals, but let's talk about Knicks Pacers. Let's get into that. And Thursday night, I believe it was Saturday night, the Pacers won that game by 17. I watched it with my friends. I watched it with a bunch of Knicks fans. I was rooting for the Knicks. But I watched the game, and the stat sheet will not tell you just how bad of a night Karl-Anthony Towns had. He finished that game with 22 points and 14 rebounds, and people would think that he had a good game looking at the stats. Karl-Anthony Towns was the worst defensive player I've ever seen in a game 6, ever. Mo, can I ask you a question real quick? Is it just me being a Karl-Anthony Towns hater, or was he the wrong person on every switch for every three, not over on any rotation, not contesting any shot? That, to me, looked awful. His stat sheet tells me different. What did you see, Mo?
I think everything you saw. Look, Jalen Brunson's not a great defender, but he's competent to know when to switch, when to show and recover. Karl-Anthony Towns, as a talent, you see why he's in the NBA. But as a basketball player who's a student of the game, he knows nothing about the game he plays. He's got an extra low basketball IQ. Like their coverages were plain. Whenever Halliburton turned the corner, you're supposed to show big. You're supposed to show big and stay so that he can't shoot the three. And too many times Towns would drop back and do he's going to drop coverage. And I'm like, you can't go and drop coverage off the screener. He was hard. It wasn't just that he played horrible defense. It was the thinking process. You saw the game I saw. How many times did he just grab people for no reason? They were just blatant, stupid fouls that I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, why are you grabbing Miles Turner 23 feet from the basket? What are you doing? Why do you do stuff like that? I'm not blaming the series on Cat, but I will say this. You have to put his talent aside and just judge him on what you see on the floor. I'm convinced Cat can't be your second best player. He's talented, but I don't think he can be your number 2. He's got to be like your number 3 because you can't really trust him as a number 2. He's too inconsistent. And on defense, even when he's locked in, he's not a good defender. He just isn't. He doesn't move his feet. He doesn't recognize when a screen is coming. He's not vocal. Like, one of the best things about really good defenders is they're vocal. Screen coming left, screen right, like switch. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns just doesn't have a natural feel for the game that he plays. And it was on full display in game 6.
I mean, at one point, we got to give Coach Rick Carlisle some credit and kind of like what he did as far as adjustments from game 5 to game 6. It was like rinse and repeat. And whenever he found something that worked, Tom Thibodeau wasn't good enough at adjusting on the fly to be able to stop it. And Rick Carlisle was literally running the same rotation. Every half-court set, it was the same screen, over, under. If they went over the screen, they had Siakam in the paint with no big presence. If they went under the screen, they had Tyrese Halliburton or Nembhard or Naismith wide open for a 3. It was bad, and it was really bad. And, like, I'm not kidding when I say this. We were watching a game, and, like, I looked at the stat sheet afterwards. I'm like, if somebody didn't watch this game, they'd be like, Cat showed up. But, like, if you watch that game, we were watching that game, we're like, please get him off the court. Why is he on the court? Like, he needs to get off the court. And then they made a move to Mitchell Robinson at, like, the 7-minute mark. And then they had a timeout, and he's 5-minute mark. He's right back on the court. I just didn't understand it. And then every time he went to the ground, it was holding a knee. It was like, oh, I'm hurt. And then when he got the ball, it didn't seem like he was hurt because he was just trying to be aggressive, throwing up whatever shot ever, missed four free throws. And that game ended at 17 points. But the two things I want to look at with that game was, number one, Deuce McBride did not step out of bounds. That was a terrible call.
Yep.
And that call changed everything. That would have dropped it to 5 points. The momentum was huge. The Indiana, I still don't think Indiana loses the game, but that's a huge missed call. And then Rick Carlisle, I mean this, absolutely abused Tom Thibodeau in that game. It was rinse and repeat. There was no answers.
To your point, I thought what he did in Game 6, that's adjusting on the fly. He had Andrew Nembhard overplay Jalen Brunson's strong hand. He had him overplay his left hand so that he could turn him. And he turned Jalen Brunson into multiple turnovers and steals. And because Jalen Brunson is, in terms of height, is undersized, they bring a second defender from his blind side, and they were trapped. They were wrecking him. And I kept thinking, okay, Thibodeau, that's when you got to bring another man up. Brunson's got to pass the ball and move off the ball. They never made that adjustment. The one thing that stuck out to me this whole series, Gene, and you and I talked about this before the series, we said we acknowledge that Pascal Siakam's a good player. We don't think he can be the best player. And I still don't. But in this particular series, 3 of the last 4 games, absolutely unguardable. Nobody could guard him. Not Cat, not Mitchell Robinson, not OG, who, by the way, I thought OG, because they're very similar, could not guard him. Nobody could stop Siakam.
Yep.
And I thought that impressed me. I've never seen this version of Siakam this offensively aggressive. If he's going to carry that over, that'll be interesting.
And it also makes you start to ask the question. And I said no. But it also has you asking the question, is Thibodeau that guy? Is he the right coach for the Knicks? It looks like they're going to keep him.
They are.
But it makes you ask, is he that guy?
No, the answer is no. I said this, and the best thing that could ever happen to the Knicks is if they would have got blown out of Game 5 at home.
Yep.
Because it would have been an opportunity for him to let Tibbs go.
Yep.
Them getting close to the NBA Finals, they're going to get all bought in with Coach Thibodeau again. I completely disagree.
Do you agree? Do you think Mike Malone might be a better fit?
100. Mike Malone, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the part that drives me nuts, right? We forget how much, until we have series like this, we forget how much good coaching matters.
Oh, yeah.
We forget, right? It's so what was one of the best coaching performances you've ever seen in the last 20 years? How about the Dallas Mavericks in 2010?
Mm-hmm.
The way they defended LeBron James in games 4, 5, 6 to win that series in 4-2. Oh, who was the coach of that team? Oh, it was Rick Carlisle.
Yep.
Got it. We forget how much good coaching matters. You go back and look at those. I'm not trying to be rude when I say this. You go back and look at those Spurs rosters that won 5 championships. And they're good. Tim Duncan's great, one of the greatest players ever. But Tony Parker was good. Manu was good. But this wasn't Kobe, Shaq. This wasn't dynasty type teams, but they were because they had a dynasty like coach, Greg Popovich.
Yep.
And you look at these situations and how they break down, and we forget how much good coaching matters.
100% facts. And
Yep,
I think
agree.
Mike Malone would be a good fit. It's not going to happen. Look, they're going to ride with Tibbs because of them winning Game 5, like Gene said. My problem is we've seen this before. Tom Thibodeau is a good coach, but he has a ceiling to how far he can take you.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
Yep.
And Knicks fans, they can be a little delusional. I know it feels
A
like
little.
No, I'm just saying to them, they're like, I can't believe we're not in the finals. But if you take a step back and really look at your playoff run, I think the Knicks overachieved. They overachieved. They were in a tough series against an inexperienced Detroit team. That was a 6-game series that could have easily gone 7. And then they beat the team that nobody, including Knicks fans, had them beating. by walking them down for 20-point leads in the first. Nobody saw that coming. So that's an upset. This was a great run. I don't think this is the start of the Knicks being in the conference finals on a regular basis. I don't think that's the case. That's what this was. It was a great run. And I love Jalen Brunson. But if you're going to put everything on him offensively all the time, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it does wear on him. He's human. You got to go out and you have to get another perimeter player, give him a tag team partner, someone who can create for himself and others that can get Jalen Brunson off the ball all the time. Now, good coaching could do that, but I think their roster construction is flawed because to me, Bridges and OG, same player. They have the exact same skill set. They're interchangeable. You don't need both of those guys, especially for the money they paid for both of those guys. I think the Knicks need to do some tinkering in their roster construction. The problem is I don't know how much they can do because you gave up 4 number ones for Bridges. It's not like you can move Bridges because you're never going to get that in return for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? OG's a really good player, but you're not going to get a star in return for him either. So I don't know how they upgrade there, but what they can do, if nothing else, they can add some talent to that bench.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything you just said. I do want to bring up a funny moment in that game, or maybe after the game. Did you guys watch Tyrese Halliburton?
Yep.
Yes, the face.
Yep.
The face.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
God, that was hilarious.
That was so funny.
They're calling out for Eastern Conference player of the series.
That was
Tyrese
hilarious.
Halliburton. I'm done taking my pose. He took his first step forward. Pascal Siakam.
What?
I was dying.
Gene, I'm glad you brought this up. I was falling out laughing in that moment because he was doing everything they do at like award ceremonies. He was already making that step, and they said Pascal Siakam. His reaction, it was, you knew at some point that night he went somewhere and cried. He went somewhere and cried.
I feel like that moment was one of the funnier moments after the game. Like Halliburton hit that, like, I don't know, had to be like 37-foot 3-pointer to just when the game was out of reach. And you could tell he was feeling himself. His dad's going nuts in the crowd. And then he's sitting there, he's taking selfies. These are pictures, like they're doing like poses. And they're like, and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And he just stops everything he's doing, takes a step or two forward, and he's ready to accept the award. And it goes to Pascal Siakam.
And guess what? Honestly, I think they got it right.
Me too.
Siakam was amazing throughout this. Halliburton had moments, especially game 1, but Siakam was if I knew he was going to be this dude, I would have been like, yo, the Knicks are in trouble. They literally had no one on their roster that could slow him down. Nobody.
And the moment wasn't too big for him. Winning with Toronto, I thought it was interesting that none of this series was too big for him to handle. And he went out there and he did his thing as a professional. So shout out to Pascal Siakam.
Bro, when Thomas Bryant had 11 points, I knew the Knicks was close.
I like TJ McConnell too.
I forgot Thomas Bryant was in the league until 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm
didn't he get benched earlier this year?
Bro, I don't know. I forgot he was in the league.
Yeah, I think he got benched earlier this year.
He got 11 points in the Eastern Conference Final closeout game.
Yeah. I like TJ McConnell too. This Indiana team's got some potential.
All right, well, so let's talk about their potential. Let's talk about their potential, and then we'll talk about where the Knicks are going to go from here. They got the Thunder. The Thunder open up as a minus 750 favorite.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Jesus. That's crazy.
A minus 750 favorite. That's like old school Ronda Rousey fights when she was somebody you never heard of.
But I think they got it right.
You think so?
750?
Does Indiana have a chance to stay competitive in this series?
I was thinking about that. Let me just say this. take the matchups, because just if you look at them just short term, it doesn't look good.
No, because I think the only person
It doesn't look good.
No, it don't.
But
It
Mo,
don't.
the person that stands out to me the most is Siakam has this huge mismatch, right? Normally in any series, he has a mismatch because he's tall, he's lanky, he can put it on the field, he's quick on his feet.
And
Who
this
would
he
be
don't.
the perfect person to stick him?
Chet,
Chet Holmgren.
Chet.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I was already thinking that, Chet.
Yeah, Mo, my bad.
No, you're right. We were thinking the same thing. As soon as I said there's nobody in OK, I said, oh, wait a minute. No, Chet's perfect for him. He's too quick for iHeart. You're not going to be able to guard him with Caruso and those smaller guys. It won't work. But Chet Holmgren is actually longer than him, as quick as he is. The only question I have about that matchup is, can he bully Chet to the basket? He can't outquick him. He can't shoot over the top of him, but can he bully him to the basket? I don't know. I look at the matchups. They don't favor Indiana anywhere. Halliburton is going to have to deal with not just Lou Dort, but Caruso, but Cason Wallace, SGA. Like, they've got 5 great perimeter defenders.
And
I don't know. I'm not going to say they don't have a chance, because they're a talented team, but their best player is Halliburton. Is he going to be able to be more productive or as productive than SGA over the course of a series? I don't think so, because the way Oklahoma City plays defense, I don't think Halliburton's going to get to play in space. I think he's going to have bodies around him all the time.
Can you see the Pacers running a mixture of Naismith and Nembhard to slow down SGA like they did Brunson?
Yes.
Yep.
They have to.
I look at the way they absolutely tired out Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson played 30 minutes in deciding game 6. He was on the bench from the 3.5-minute mark in the first quarter to the 8-minute mark in the second quarter. I've never seen anything like that with Jalen Brunson. I mean, he was absolutely gassed as hard as they made him work. The difference is with the Thunder is they don't have to be SGA centric.
Right.
A-Dub can score. Chet can score. Hartenstein can give you a little bit. Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso. They got guys that can put them, like, they don't need to just be SGA centric. And if they will not work as hard as New York did to get Jalen Brunson in space. It just won't happen.
Toronto goes 10, not Toronto. OKC goes 10 deep, and that's going to help them a lot in this series. A lot.
I trust in Rick Carlisle. Gene brought up it before about great coaching can make a difference. I'm not saying the Pacers are going to win the series, because I don't think they're going to win the series, but Rick Carlisle can coach them up and make it a series, because Rick Carlisle can say, we're not going to stop SGA, but you know who we can shut down and it can make a difference? We can shut down J-Dub. We can get up on him. I can put Neesmith on him, and we can wear down J-Dub. We can make J-Dub an inefficient scorer, an inconsistent sidekick. We can take away some of the things that Chet does offensively. I think that Rick Carlisle is going to focus on SGA's sidekicks more than SGA.
If any coach can pull this off, it will be him.
Can we talk about how good the Oklahoma City Thunder's front office is, though? Like, I really want to, they found Mark Daigneault from their G League affiliate. Like, are we serious right now?
And understand this too. They're not getting any of the primarily best free agents. They're doing everything to the draft primarily, and minor league and lesser known free agents to go over there and believe in that system. So shout out to that GM. Shout out to him.
Sam Presti in the NBA is what Howie Roseman has been in the NFL.
Yep. Just able to make something out of nothing and make it successful.
But he does it in a market that's very tough to like you bring up the Howie Roseman thing. Philadelphia is not a tough place to get people to play. People want to play for a passionate city, a passionate fan base, a metropolitan city. It's right by New York. It's got its own things in Philadelphia. We're not far from DC. We're on the East Coast. Like, Oklahoma City is not a place where any free agent wants to play. Like, they're not signing big free agents there. They're drafting them. They're making them. They're homegrown success. Sam Presti, Mark Daigneault. I think Mark Daigneault gets overlooked more than any coach in basketball right now. The system and style that they've built in Oklahoma City has been insane.
It has been crazy.
And they might look. We talk about how you haven't seen a dynasty in a long time in the NBA. I'm not saying they're going to be, but they're set up in the way that they could. They also have a lot of draft picks. They have tons of picks. Like Sam Presti has assets left and right that he could, if he wanted to, he could actually add a piece or two to this roster that is about to be the NBA champions, and that's kind of insane to me. And then usually, when you have a team like this that wins a title, what happens? Money becomes a factor, right? Because eventually, you can't pay everybody.
Can't pay everybody,
right?
And then look at the age of this team. Like 20, the average age is like 25. It's just sick.
Yeah.
All those boys are young. Nobody's long in the tooth. All these guys are young, and they're getting to the NBA Finals. Again, shout out to OKC for doing things the right way.
This core is almost younger than the other core from 2012. That's how young.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about something that happened yesterday. It was a little bit weirder. Actually, let's finish with the Knicks real quick. The Knicks this offseason need to do what, Mo?
I think they need to make an effort to go out and get another playmaker to take some pressure off of Brunson. You cannot play – the Knicks play a certain way that Pat Riley played back in the day. Maybe I should say Tom Thibodeau teams play a certain way because they do. Our starters are going to play 38, 40 minutes a game, and we're going to play every game like it's a playoff game. That wears on you. Think about what he did, how ball dominant Derrick Rose was, how ball dominant Brunson is. Not because Brunson's trying to ball hog, but that's how Tom Thibodeau does it. He puts everything on offensively around that guard, and then he puts a bunch of dogs around him and says, you guys take care of the defense. We'll handle the offense. This particular season, though, when the front office went out and got Bridges and Towns, they focused more on offense. And they were one of the better offensive teams in the NBA, but they're not great defensively. And schematically, when you look at them, you have two wings that are identical. They don't play with a four. They just play OG at the four. They have two wings. They don't have a four. And Josh Hart's not a shooting guard. He's a lot of things, but he's not a shooting guard. There's a reason why Josh Hart is open. The man shot 18% from three. Josh Hart is a rotation player. He should be coming off your bench, 6th or 7th man. They've got to go out and get a legitimate two guard to complement Jalen Brunson. If you do that, along with putting some more at least impactful bench players on there, I think the Knicks are going to be back in the mix. But I still don't know how far they go because I do think that numbers can fool you. Gene, you led the show off with, if you just look at raw numbers, I think for the series, Cat was 24-12. That's not bad. I think he shot 50% for the floor. Great. 36 from three. Again, all good. But if you watch the game and you watch the other side of the floor, I don't know if you can play him that many minutes because he's that bad. He's that bad. He's a terrific offensive talent, but he's horrible defensively. And I'm not sure. It's weird to say this because I said it in the offseason that he is better than Randall in some aspects. He is. He is. I don't know how much of an upgrade he was, though, overall.
Yeah. Knicks might be back in the mix, but Brunson Airline ain't never coming back.
That's hard. That's hard. That's not cool.
All right, we got 2 days. We got 3 more days to preview the NBA Finals.
Man.
I do want to move forward. I got a couple other topics. I won't be here tomorrow, so I don't think these will get brought up if I don't talk about them today. The French Open is happening right now in tennis, and I know neither one of you guys are huge tennis fans. I understand that. But something happened yesterday in sports that I felt like we needed to talk about. The world's number 2 from Spain, Carlos Alcaraz, had a situation where he was contesting a point and he had a shot where he basically threw his arm as far as he can out to get his racket on the ball. Right before he got the racket on the ball, he had let go of the racket. The racket hit the ball, went over the net, won the point. The line, it was close, so close. The line judge and the judge didn't call it. Alcaraz turned to the judge and goes, I released my racket. That is not my point. I'd like to concede the point. Alcaraz went on to win in 4 sets, 3-1. Your thoughts on Alcaraz's very honest, sportsmanship-like situation in the French Open?
First of all, you don't see that in tennis too much. You don't see that. You don't see that. I haven't, man, it was the last tennis match I saw. But Serena Williams, but I was watching it back in the day, Gabriela Sabatini, Steffi Graf, love Steffi Graf. But yeah, you don't see that too often anywhere, and it's a refreshing change.
Usually it's the opposite.
Yep.
You see the player argue their case
They fighting
and
for that
get
point.
loud, and there's a lot of back and forth. So shout out to him for conceding that point. He is the exception, not the rule, for sure.
Oh yeah. Facts.
I just wanted to give that a show, like a conversation piece. And then another piece of news that is just absolutely absurd. Like I just, in a million years, I don't think I'd ever thought I'd see this. The Colorado Rockies swept again, third fastest to 50 losses in MLB history. The Rockies are 9-50, the worst record through 59 games of any major league team in the modern era since 1901. They've been swept 10 times in 20 series.
Dismantle the team.
What'd you say?
Dismantle the team.
Well, let me get through my soliloquy. The Rockies are 9-50, the worst record through 59 games of any major league team in modern history since 1901. They have been swept 10 times in 20 series, tied for the most sweeps through 20 series with the 62 Mets, the 70 Brewers, and the 1994 A's. Going deeper in the record books, Colorado is the third fastest team to the 50 loss mark, behind the 1884 Kansas City Unions and the 1876 Cincinnati Red Stockings, who got 50 losses in 57 games. However, in an odd quirk, the 2025 Rockies, with one more victory, will be the second team to have 50 losses when they record their 10th win. So I want to ask you guys a trivia question. And I know neither one of you guys have looked this up yet, so that's why I want to ask you a trivia question. And I'm going to help you with the trivia question. In baseball, they have something called a run differential. I know you guys know that. I'm just explaining for everybody listening at home. The Yankees are number one in baseball right now in run differential at a plus 98. That means they've won their games by 98 total runs. They've only won 14 more games than they've lost. They're 36-22. So that's interesting. That's a really good plus run differential. For a minus run differential, the worst team in baseball is the Rockies. The second worst team in baseball is the Oakland A's at minus 110 runs. That's a lot.
Jesus.
The Orioles are third worst at minus 93 runs. I want to play a game of who can get closer to how bad the Rockies' run differential is. So you both get one guess, and I'll give you a hint. It's worse than you think it is.
White Sox.
No. What is the run differential?
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Let me repeat the question just so we can get it.
Okay.
The Colorado Rockies have the worst run differential in baseball. The second worst run differential in baseball is the Oakland A's at minus 110. The best run differential in baseball is the Yankees at plus 98. What is the Rockies' run differential? And I'll let you guys see who gets closer. And the hint I gave was it's worse than you think it is.
Jesus, man.
I'll go minus 25.
So minus 110 is the second worst. So it would have to be higher than that.
Minus
130.
Okay, took my guess, man.
130.
Okay. You want to take a guess, Mo?
I was gonna go 132. So
okay. I look at Karam in the chat minus 140. That's not a bad guess either. If I told you guys that you're off by a lot, what would you think?
Oh wow.
A lot. Like
We in the
not a
two-
little. A
We in
lot.
the two. We in the
What?
two. The threes.
Post minus 138. That's not bad.
We
Where
in
are we
the-
at?
we in
They're
the twos?
almost
Damn.
minus 185.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Kyle, minus 160, minus 185. Now, they've won 9 games, which means they've had a plus run differential in 9 baseball games this year. 9. They've won. Look at minus 175. Nope, we're still not there. I said the number, and we're still not there.
That's crazy.
That is
Minus
crazy.
185.
That's crazy.
We have people in the chat at 175, and that's still not good enough or bad enough.
Jesus.
Say, still not bad enough.
Jesus.
I've never seen anything like this.
the
Like, I
Rockies.
needed to get your guys' instant reaction to a minus 185 run differential.
I'm just
Jesus.
blown away. And I know about their record already, and I'm just wondering, like, nobody's getting fired. like nobody's fired. We good. We just keep going day by day.
He's
Like
gonna keep doing this. The White Sox, Rockies gonna keep doing this. White Sox gonna keep doing this. What the heck?
right.
All right, I do want to move
Terrible
to the
team.
NFL for a second. The 49ers have made a trade. They've traded for Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher Bryce Huff.
Heard about that.
Now, what gets lost in the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl run last year is how bad of a signing Bryce Huff was. Philadelphia Eagles signed Bryce Huff to a 3-year, $53 million contract to be an edge rusher, and he didn't play from week 13 forward. They just eliminated him from playing. Like, he was healthy and active. Just a 6th guy, 7th guy in rotation. He was just awful, right? Bryce Huff played for Robert Saleh the year he got paid. So, like, he basically got paid off the back of what he did with that Jets defense. I'm sure Robert Saleh went into John Lynch's office and like, yo, we can get him cheap, and I know how to use him. What are your thoughts on it? Says it's a mid-round pick, so which means it's a 3rd through 5th round pick. The Eagles are going to be eating $9 million of his payroll this year, and then they're off the hook for next year. But so the Eagles are basically taking a $9 million hit this year of the $17 million he's due. The 49ers are going to pay him 8. The Eagles are going to pay him 9. I think the 49ers pay him like 7.8, and the Eagles pay him like 9.3. I think it's something like that. But your thoughts on the trade for Bryce Huff, Mo?
So initially, my first thought was why, but then I realized with Saleh, with his history with Saleh, I think John Lynch had a conversation with Saleh, like you said, and Saleh said, "I can coach this guy up. I know what makes him tick." I'll take it this way. I think it's low risk, high reward. And if anybody can make this guy play at a high level and an effective level, Saleh can bring it out of him. So I'm cautiously optimistic that he will be a big part of the rotation across the defensive line. But this is more about me trusting Robert Saleh than him.
Look, I trust Robert Saleh. I said this to you multiple times, Mo, and I'll say it to you again. The best free agent signing this offseason for the 49ers has been Robert Saleh because he can make a defense. It doesn't matter who's on the defense. He can make them a good defense. He went over to the Jets. They were ranked 26th. The next year, they were 5th. With the 49ers, he took over the 49ers defense, and they were good. He made them great. He made them Super Bowl worthy. Your thoughts on the trade, Will?
I agree with Mo. Low risk, high reward. And anytime you can get another team to pick up part of that salary, that's a great thing. So I like the trade from Philly standpoint because you're getting rid of a guy who wasn't being productive. He's the players going to a team where you have familiarity. So that's a big win for him. and Saleh thinks that he can coach him up. And again, anytime you get a team to pay half your salary on a player who you think can be productive, it's a win-win.
I will be. I just think that it's funny. We talk about Howie Roseman all the time and his draft history. This was an absolute swing and miss. And the Eagles winning a Super Bowl covered this up. I'll say this, though. Bryce Huff has speed around the edge. And if he can get the right technique in the right system, which Robert Saleh has already proven that he can be in that, I think it becomes a huge win. And I'm just hoping against hope here that the Philadelphia Eagles don't have to see Bryce Huff in a big game, and Bryce Huff has a legacy game versus Philadelphia.
You know he's gonna come in that game with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove, and that's dangerous.
Of course, that always happens.
Yeah,
that's the one thing Philadelphia is 100% known for. Like I'll never forget the Deshaun Jackson return after he got traded and he went to. He scored a 50-yard touchdown on us every game since he's.
I remember that game.
So all he does just Washington 50-yard touchdown, Tampa Bay 50-yard touchdown, LA 50-yard, just 50-yard touchdowns versus us all the time.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we're gonna have a legacy game from Bryce Huff. Worried about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm worried about it. Last topic on the agenda, and I don't know, guys. I just this will be quick. Las Vegas Raiders offensive coordinator Chip Kelly and number 1 wide receiver Jacoby Myers praised quarterback Geno Smith. It's been a strong impression. I truly mean that. Chip Kelly called Smith a blessing for coaches, saying Smith provides a wealth of experience due to playing for multiple coordinators through his 11-year career. He was just listed as the 10th best quarterback for PFF. What is Geno Smith doing that's allowing him to get this much praise around the NFL?
I think coaches speak is coaches speak. And I think that's what this is. Not saying that Geno's not a solid guy. He is a solid guy. He's a solid vet. But I think coaches speak is coaches speak. And it's just ridiculous to me. For him to be ranked 10th on that list is just crazy to me. And this is just coaches speak. And again, I'm not saying that Geno's not a solid guy, but he's not a top 10 quarterback.
No.
So I think the one thing honest is Geno does have a wealth of experience. He's well over a decade into his career. So that part is true. And he also shown that he can be resilient. Geno had struggled and been kind of a backup QB most of his career. And then he kind of resurrected himself by having those huge seasons in Seattle. But I always look at you for the breadth of your career. I looked at Geno this past season with the Seahawks, and he looked a lot more like the Geno we had seen in previous years.
Yep.
I don't know how he got ranked one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. He's not. Like, I'm a Niner fan, and I don't think Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback, but he's better than Geno.
Yep.
Better than Geno.
Yep.
So I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're not doing it right. And I get why Chip Kelly says what he says, because Chip Kelly is famous for doing coach speak all the time. I remember when Chip Kelly was going to bring that corny offense to the Eagles, and that trash didn't – it was so dumb. It was so bad.
He brought the corny offense to the Eagles. Don't remind me of that. There's no need for that, no. When you're having a good morning, have my coffee, and you bring up the dark ages. God damn it.
Oh, man.
My bad, partner. Hey, you're still the defending champs. Let's not forget that.
Woo.
We're at our time. Will be back tomorrow. He'll be here with Carmike and Mo. They'll have some more wrestling. I do want you guys to talk a little Paul George tomorrow. The fact that he's been traded from these two teams to basically
both in the finals. He's the catalyst.
But we are at our time. Mo, do me a favor and close us out.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, especially everybody up in the chat. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you guys.
Make sure you tune in tonight to the Sports Report with William D. Morgan.
Yes,
have a good one.